A key component of this is the systemic enzymes. Now, systemic enzymes are just that. They're catalysts that are used within your body for various systems. So there's various kinds of systemic enzymes. And it's not very complicated. Basically, there's metabolic and catabolic. There's systemic enzymes that build you up, or systemic enzymes that come in and tear down stuff you don't need anymore. Now, the ones that tear down the stuff that you don't need anymore that we're going to be concerned with at the moment are called proteolytic enzymes. And these guys come along and they eat protein. Now, this is good because they eat it and they get you to excrete it one way or another. Usually not through the skin or anything, but it either comes out through the bladder or through the colon. And proteolytic enzymes are one of the first levels that really get reduced once your body stops producing or has peaked on the systemic enzymes. And that's the thing, is that we know as old farts, as old warriors here, guys who have been in the martial arts for 30 plus years, that as you age, you get this like gritty feeling of all these built up fibrins, especially in a fascia tissue, in the tissue underneath the skin, which has to build the areas up. So, for instance, in our shoulder injury, we might build a web that goes down to the forearm and connects in through the ligaments and into the forearm muscles, and then goes over the back some considerable distance down into the latissimus dorsi. And when it comes along and your shoulder heals up, it's, my shoulder feels good, but hey, your back is ever so slightly swollen, and so is your arm. And what happens is the fibrin in those areas takes forever or does not get removed. And so you have this buildup of fibrin all the time. And so fibrin, by the way, is related to, all the fibrous diseases. And there's some justification for thinking that humans also die. One of the leading causes of dehydration, which down to a critical threshold, is a buildup of fiber at some level, fibrosis at some level. And we can go into all of the cross connections there. But at this point, let's note that you get fibrin circulating so bad that it impacts your lymph system and it impacts your blood. Now, I used to have thick blood in a disease called hemochromatosis because of Irish heritage through my mother, and that has a predisposition to having an affinity towards iron, too good of an affinity towards iron. And so you get what I used to call thick blood, and I could actually sort of feel the symptoms of the disease. It wasn't really a nice thing at all. And it's similar in some ways to the polluted feeling that people get as they age, as the fibrin starts circulating in the blood, and the blood ends up being, as thick as oatmeal when it should just be barely thicker than water. And the old saying, blood is thicker than water, is quite accurate, but not much. You need to have that blood as hydrated as possible. And in fact, frequently, when you run into a situation of high blood pressure and you start feeling yourself getting angry and this sort of thing, hey, down a couple of glasses of water and see if that doesn't help. A lot of times it's, temporary level of dehydration. Not to say you shouldn't check your blood pressure, all that kind of crap, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, so here we are thinking about altering our meat sacks, our smart vessels, our boats here, just like Eddie Murphy in the movie Meet Dave. We're up in our brains, in our receivers up there driving the little boat around, and we note that we probably need some more of these proteolytic enzymes to clean the crud out as we go along. Is this a doable thing? Has it been in use? Are there harmful doses? What do we need to know about it? Well, one of the first things you need to know about it is if you're taking any kind of a blood thinner or a anticoagulant, be advised you shouldn't take any of these enzyme supplements without getting your doctor there to watch you take the thing and also monitor, because they work so damn well that they'll make those blood thinners and coagulants work several times better than they should, or than your doctor expects, and so you can bleed out. This is all, by the way, leading up to another conclusion, which we're heading towards, and some of you may have a prescient understanding of what's going on. But in any event, so here we have the idea that we're going to take these systemic enzymes, including the proteolytics, to clean out the fibrin in our system and see how we feel and what goes on. Now, I personally have taken some of the serapeptase, and I, after doing the research and looking at the mixed martial arts and its history in Japan, and the use of systemic enzymes in Japan to deal with heart issues and all of these other side offshoots, I thought, okay, well, hey, there's no lethal dose. You know, you can eat this stuff until you puke, and all that's going to happen is you're going to have a sore stomach and an abraded esophagus, but there's no lethal dose. And you need a lot of it. That's become my conclusion. I'm very old. I'm 61. And I need a lot of this because I built up a lot of fibrin. I'm just covered with scars everywhere. And also, as I said, I used to have the hemochromatosis, which is the thick blood disease. So undoubtedly, I have a tendency or a predisposition towards a thicker level of blood. So, and I have other clues that go towards that. So in any event, here we are, and we're talking about the idea of adding the systemic enzymes. And one of them that you can take is the serapeptase, or seratiopeptase. Anyway, there's various different brand names. Some people you'll note are taking 1.5 million international units. Other people are taking half a gram of the stuff, and so it just depends on how the manufacturer measures it out. But you need to take, if you're going to take this stuff and you're old, you probably need to take a lot to build up your reserves, fill up the cup, so to speak, because your body's going to use a lot of it right away. And it does indeed. It alters a number of things. One of the things that was an interesting side effect I hadn't expected was that it actually it made my brain work better as a receiver because it's cleaning out some of the crud. And when I realized that was what was going on, it's like, oh, okay, I understand this process now. And it's also led to a better level of hydration. I'm drinking water much more effectively simply because and remember, we started off with the assault on water here. And so, but I'm drinking water much more effectively. I noticed this because there's levels of old scar tissue that are thinning, and as it does so, this wrinkly skin around it is rehydrating and becoming nice again. And so, sort of a nice little good side effect there. We also note, by the way, just as an aside here, that for all the red pill men and their idea that women are peaking at 29, well, hey guys, most females, their systemic enzymes peak at age 27. And so this sort of is a biological clue there that does click in. Anyway, now let's also note that vitamins and certain vitamin-mineral combinations are also coenzymes. They're factors in the enzymes. They're factors in how well these enzymes work. So, for instance, you can have as many metabolizing enzymes as you want down there working on your gut, but if you don't have a specific level of vitamin C in your system, they can't build new gut wall. They can't build the little cells that go on into making the cilia that move the stuff through your gut. They can't build any of the cells that do the absorption. There's not a whole lot they can do because the vitamin C is a required, necessary component to the creation of these cells through various different cofactors with the enzymes that are working there. Basically, it's kind of like saying, you're not going to hire a contractor and try and build a brick wall without sending him to Home Depot. If you can't get the bricks, you can't build the wall. And that's basically what's happening here, that a lot of times you don't have an inbuilt level of the necessary vitamins, and that's why the vitamins are key. But we also need to note vitamins alone are merely the bricks and the mortar and the hammers, and the nails, all that kind of stuff. The tools are the enzymes that actually put all that stuff together for you. And so you can have as much of one as you want. Well, actually, you need to have an adequate amount of both, or it just doesn't do you a whole lot of good. And you need to think about how you're going to take those vitamins, because you're going to, if you add the stimulus to your system of the seratiopeptase and these other kinds of proteolytic enzymes, you're going to get a higher level of dynamic activity within your system. And thus that's going to cause you to need more of the enzymes, et cetera, or more of the coenzyme factors, such as vitamins, et cetera. So you